Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I want to introduce you tonight to an unbelievably engaging young lady. Kris Orticello is her name. She is a actress, a model, a marketing expert, and influencer, and seemingly almost everything. Her social media is filled with different interesting things on a fairly regular basis, and she's got, I think, an interesting career and a background. And I think we're going to have lots to talk about in regards to her career, what she's doing, how she's helping companies, etc. And one of the interesting things about her is that she describes that she's also very driven by her Christian faith and her love of animals. And so therefore, she's refused several roles that required her to carry out blasphemy, nudity, and regrettably, for me at least, eating meat. So I think it's going to be interesting. Kris, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Brian. I am doing fantastic, much better now.
You had COVID, I understand.
Yes, I did. I had COVID. Thankfully, I'm recovered and I'm feeling much better. And I'm just so happy to be here with you. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. Now, tell us, if you could, a little bit about how you got into acting. I understand you got into acting when you were like 5 years old?
When I was 7. So I started off with an acting and modeling school, and my parents put me in it thinking that it was just going to be like a fun hobby, not thinking that I was going to take it seriously or take it all the way or still be pursuing it as an adult. And I think when they thought that I was starting to take it seriously, they got a little concerned. They were like, this is not really a job. This is just like something we wanted to put you in so that you would have fun and gain confidence. And I think they got really worried. No, I know they got really worried when I wanted to pursue it as an adult, because I think as most adults and most, parents, they worry about their children being in an unpredictable career like acting that doesn't always have a lot of stability. But I truly believe that if you stick something out and you ride the waves, you're going to have a really fun journey and you're going to get stuff along the way. Things are going to happen. So I think perseverance is really important in any industry you're in, but especially if you're in entertainment.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've acted in.
Sure. So some of the roles that I'm best known for are Brandy Glanville from Famous Feuds, and as well as Tori Spelling from Broken Famous.
Really fantastic. And you're also a singer.
Yes, I am a singer.
Tell us what you've sung.
So I have sang on my own tracks. So we produce music. This is something I kind of have, I had a long journey with in my early 20s, and I went to the Grammys a few times. We produced a few tracks, our original pop sounding stuff like dance music. And then I got hit by a car into the 2000s, and it was kind of like life shattering. It changed a lot of stuff for me, and I wasn't able to perform as well. I wasn't able to dance around the way I could before, and I was also getting very depressed because I wasn't able to do those things. So it kind of put a stunt in the singing career and made me realize that I felt a little bit more comfortable with acting and hosting because it didn't demand so much of me physically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And you're a host. So what you say you're a host? What do you host?
Well, for some time now, a year, we've been hosting our publicity rooms on Clubhouse, which is, I think, how we met, right?
Yep.
Is on Clubhouse. And I've also hosted for shows on E as well as Global. And so for a while, I also hosted my own variety show and, just a lot of stuff. Whenever anybody needs me, I've hosted live events. I've hosted the World Cup speed skating. It's kind of a tongue twister, but the World Cup speed skating event, and it was amazing.
Fantastic. And right on the lead into your bio, you say Christian. Why?
Yes, because a lot of stuff comes up without mentioning that. So they'll often ask me to do things because of my look that can be sexy. And I think it's good to have confidence in who you are and to be grateful for how you look and to not hide yourself. And this is what I look like. And I think that if I don't mention it, I know that if I don't mention it, oftentimes I'll be asked to do things like nudity. I may be asked to do edgier roles because I can look edgier. And some of those things compromise my values. And I'm not going to say that I've never done them because my walk with my faith has had a long and turbulent journey. But where I'm at now and where I'm at with the Lord, it's not a place that I really want to at all harm that relationship or make God last place above my career. I know that he'll always give me double for my trouble. So if I decline something, I know he's got something better for me. And I don't need to compromise my values just to, try and get ahead.
Really fascinating. And it's been a troubling journey.
Yeah, it has. It has, because, I think there's a lot of conflict, especially in entertainment. There are a lot of things that can have dark undertones, things that can compromise people's values. There's a lot of sex on TV. There's a lot of demonic undertones that can be very harmful to your psyche and to your mindset. And for myself personally, I mean, I've wanted fame. I've wanted to be liked at any cost. I've wanted to have the things that people get easily by doing those things. And I've questioned, like, God, why did you put this great dream on my heart if you wanted to make it so difficult for me, and so many things I have to say no to? Like, I don't understand it. And it's only until recently, when I started reading the Bible more regularly, like every day, getting deep into the word, do I understand that God is actually using my life for his glory, not for mine. So it's not about me and me wanting fame. It's that if he gives me fame, what do I do with it? And how does that glorify him?
Fascinating. That sounds interesting. We're going to have to come back and chat more about this. We're going to take a break for some messages, and we're going to come back with Kris Orticello in just 2 minutes. And I'm going to ask her about an article that she was quoted in about power women. And she talks about how to successfully navigate work, love, and life as a powerful woman. That sounds like an interesting conversation as well. Stay with us, everyone. We're going to be back with Kris Orticello in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. Real pleasure of mine tonight to introduce you to Kris Orticello, who is an actor. She's a host. She's a singer. She's a marketing expert, consultant, and an influencer. And she's written, or at least been quoted in a bunch of interviews. One that I want to talk a little bit about right now, Kris, which is, you said you had some lessons on how to operate and manage life, love, and careers as a powerful woman. It sounds really interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts were on this, if you could?
Yeah, when I was invited to be interviewed, it was just really interesting, because I thought, like, what is a powerful woman, and what is power? What does that mean to be powerful? And to me, I was like, it's not unique to just one person. We all have power. We all have this fire inside of ourselves. We have passion, we have intelligence, we have love, we have caring. And when we use those things for ourselves and for others, we create more. And to be a powerful person is just to harness your energy, regardless of what your passion or your specific work experience is, or your vocation. It's to harness that energy and to use it for the greater good. And I think whenever you're giving more than you're receiving, that's power. There's so much power in that. And there's so much power also in kindness, just being kind to people. And I've really found that that's helped me a lot on my journey, is considering others and how my work can benefit them, can benefit their business, can benefit their personal lives.
You had as one of your suggestions, tenacity. Tell us a little bit about tenacity and how that's helped you in your career.
Gosh, you have to be tenacious. You really have to have a strong will and know for certain that what your calling is something that's going to help a lot of people, and that this world needs you to do it. We all have a calling, and it could be something small, it can be something big, but each of our callings actually impacts another person and their life. And it is a complete butterfly effect. So having that gumption, that drive to get that thing done is going to be what creates in this world and how you create impact. So it's so important to have tenacity, because there are so many things that can knock us down. And
And,
when you have tenacity, you can come back up from anything.
and another one was faith. So tell me how faith is so critical for you in managing life, love, relationships, and work.
Well, I think the word faith can be used in a lot of different ways. So for myself, when I think of faith, I think about my faith with God, but I also think about my faith in my calling. I think about my faith in myself. I think about my faith in other people. I think about faith in terms of trust. How much do I trust what God's instilled in me? How much do I trust my creator? How much do I trust the truth? And when you have that kind of faith that you can believe something that you haven't even seen yet, that you know so deeply in your core that what you're meant to do is supposed to come to fruition, then you're really living in your truth and you're really following that faith. And like I said, for me, it's also does come down to my Christianity, to my, I don't want to say religion because I don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a faithful person.
You're advertising for a singles dating site?
Well, I am single, Brian, since you bring that up. Actually, I really do need to go on a date. So if anybody's listening to this, if there are any eligible bachelors that are not at all in any way, shape, or form in a relationship with anybody else, I definitely am single. And yeah, Lexi had asked me to be an ambassador for their luxury brand, and luxury falls right into our marketing. We focus on luxury and premium brands that we help market. And so yeah, I was more than happy to be an ambassador for them.
Oh, that's funny. That's great. And tell us what it is you're looking for.
In a man?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Brian, my list is so long. How much time do you have? This is probably why I'm
47 minutes.
Okay, well, I think they call it like a sapiosexual when you find somebody like mentally, intellectually attractive. I really love someone that can have a good conversation and that's intelligent. I also love a strong sense of humor, someone who can make me laugh. I feel like so many things in life change. And if you have a good sense of humor and you can laugh about things, life is just fun. It's a lot more fun. You can go through hard times easier because you can laugh about things without being so serious and strung out. And I would really appreciate it if he had his finances in order. I think it's important to have a financial intelligence and a financial literacy. I know that I think the things that I'm asking for are things that I bring to the table. I think they're just things that, like, humanity, just being kind. I want that person to like be respectful to others, and that could potentially be a good father to children, that I can trust if I were to leave them in a room to say nice things about myself and others that I care about. Just being a decent person.
That's helpful. You were in some Christmas shows?
Oh, those are great posters that we put up. I've worked with that photographer and he's amazing. So these are just mock-ups that we did for Christmas time to greet people and wish them a Merry Christmas. And I'm totally open to doing Christmas shows, by the way. I absolutely love Hallmark. I love all things Christmas shows. And my grandmother and I watch them together all the time. They're just amazing. They're so comforting.
I think the vast majority of these Christmas shows are just like rom-coms. Are you a real romantic?
I think I am. Yeah, I think I am a romantic. I do believe in true love, and I do believe that people can just meet in unexpected circumstances and fall madly in love and just be connected and just last forever. I've seen it happen. I've heard of it, and I believe it can happen for me, and I can believe it can happen for so many other people too.
Now, you talked about turning down some parts that are inappropriate, but some of your pictures are pretty attractive.
Thank you. Well, I feel like there's a line between, owning your femininity and owning your own sexuality, and then being overtly to the point where you can't show it to children. Like, I want everything that I do to be things that I could show to my nieces and nephews or to my own children one day if I ever have them. And I personally, I like things that have a tiny bit of edge, but that are still wholesome and still like I said, PG.
So what's next for you?
Well, we're working right now with my marketing company and we're hiring, by the way, if you're listening to this and you are a social media expert, we are looking to expand our contractors. We have a ton of positions available also for marketing directors. We are helping our brands to grow and our staff is increasing because we are scaling and we are growing, which is fascinating and exciting. And so that's something that I'm focused on right now. And yeah, the marketing company is really exciting. It's something that I find a lot of joy in.
And tell me, what does this marketing company do?
Well, for myself as an influencer, I'm able to help brands with my influence by increasing their visibility. And when you increase your visibility, like our good friend Dominique Murphy says, you increase your profitability. So I use my influence to help them get more visibility. And we also help brands with their production. So let's say they didn't need a host or they didn't need an influencer. We can just help them to either make a commercial or to create whatever media they needed. And I think that that's the beauty of what we do is we can do images, we can do video, and we also help brands that are not featured on my social media. So I'll do some branding for them, like host one of their videos, do like a small kind of commercial like thing for them, and they'll post that on their social media. We also have our Cameo and our Memo. Cameo and Memo are they basically are like these celebrity videos that they just are like happy birthdays and happy anniversaries. So I've had fans request to do phone calls with me, to do things for their business, to promote their business. And they're just really fun ways for me to connect with people and to also bring some smiles to some faces as well. So I love doing cameos and memos.
Sounds like you've done everything.
No, not everything. There's still so much to do. I mean, there's also things that I really shy away from that I feel like I like to leave to other people to do that are not strengths of mine. But the things that I really enjoy doing that I feel kind of are married to each other, I like to intertwine. Like I'm not
done a lot of videos and posts about your travel. Tell me about that.
Travel is one of the main things that we focus on my brand, because our viewers really love watching my travel videos. They like to see me traveling and letting my hair down. So we focus a lot on helping brands with their hospitality needs. So for example, hotels, we have a great partner, Black Lane, which is a chauffeur service. All of those kinds of things are really fun for people to watch. They like to see me going in and out of different locations and having a great time.
Why?
I don't know why. I just know they like it. We do a lot of A/B testing and we do a lot of asking our audience what they like. We'll just straight up ask them, like, do you like this, this, and this? What don't you like? And the things that they always like to see or hear about the most from me are like party videos, travel videos, on location videos, luxury videos, and me talking about money videos. People like it, financial advice. So I guess there are things that maybe help them to escape and things that help them to maybe do better, to survive. I mean, times are kind of hard right now with the recession and everything. So I think maybe that's why money videos are doing really well right now. People need some solid advice and some information.
Now, when you go to these different places, do you get paid or promoted somehow for the promotion that you provide these different companies, these different places?
Yeah, many of them. Others are just my vacation, but many of them, yes. Yeah.
So tell me about some of the favorite places you've been.
I really love Vancouver. I go there really often. I just feel like it's one of the places that I feel so centered and so myself. And I feel at peace, like all the mountains and the water. It's just vibrationally really good for me. Another place where I feel vibrationally really happy energetically as well is Arizona. I love Route 66. I love traveling through New Mexico, that clay earth and like the petrified wood and all the dinosaur fossils. It's just fascinating. And then all of the indigenous culture mixed with Spanish culture. It's just mind blowing how much is in such a small area and how quickly the landscape changes. I've also loved Italy. And of course, always the Caribbean, because the Caribbean is just beautiful any time of year.
Where have you been in Italy?
My family is from Italy. They were born there on my father's side. So I've gone back to our hometown, which is called Fondi in the province of Lazio, which is about an hour and a half from Rome.
South or north or west or?
Uh, I'd have to look at a map and I don't want to say the wrong thing.
So Amalfi and Sorrento and Capri are south. And that I think is the most idyllic place in the world. Are you close to that or not?
Brian, this is an interesting thing that you're going to learn about me today. Remember how I said that I like doing things that I'm really good at? So geography and math are not my strengths. They're nothing that I'd ever promote for myself to teach people.
But you smoke cigars?
I love cigars. Oh my gosh. I love cigars. I really do. And I don't smoke them often, but I do love a good cigar now and again, especially in the Caribbean weather. There's just something about how it opens up the taste. It's amazing.
And you like going to Jamaica, Bahamas, Cuba?
Yeah. Cuba is Havana, especially. I'm a culture person. So, it's fun for me to be on a beach and to like soak up the rays. I like all that. But if you actually go to Havana, Havana is culturally so interesting. The people are so beautiful. They have a really rich jazz culture. And I think it was Ernest Hemingway was there quite often in his lifetime and wrote a lot of his literature there. And it's just a beautiful place that you can draw so much inspiration from.
Do you read a lot?
I don't read as much now as I used to. I listen more now to books. And I kind of like self-help books. Self-help books are a little bit more interesting to me now than fantasy and like
How come?
nonfiction, because I just care a lot about business and it takes a while to read a book. And if I'm going to spend that time, I guess I'm pretty focused on achievement. And nonfiction, even though it's a great escape, I find it easier to watch a movie in like an hour and a half than it is to read a book in a few hours. So,
and you're focused on achievement. So efficiency is key.
Yeah. And that's why I think audiobooks work really well, because I can listen to them while I'm driving in the car. Like multitasking is often something that I find to help increase productivity.
Okay. We're going to take a break and come back. And I'm going to ask Kris a little bit about what recommendations she's got for other people that might want to follow her footsteps in acting or singing or influencing or marketing. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be back with Kris Orticello in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I'm having a lot of fun meeting Kris Orticello tonight, who is an actor, a host, a singer, a model, and a marketing advisor, an expert, and someone who travels the world and seemingly gets people to pay for her trips because she then promotes where they're going. Sounds like a good gig to me. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And during the break, she said, wouldn't it be fun if I met my husband through your radio show? Because she's also advertising a singles dating site. So she's obviously everywhere. Kris, how do you keep it all together? Like, you're doing so many different things. How do you keep organized and focused and successful?
First of all, some days I don't feel like I'm keeping it all together. I feel like, there's a lot that goes into maintaining an agenda, having things written down and making sure that your teams are on the same page as you. Having a proper team is so important. Having infrastructure with your business, having things in place that can keep things in alignment so that if you're having an off day, you have something to redirect you and bring you back to center, bring you back to focus, bring you back to task. So I think that that's an excellent question, Brian, and it's something that I'm always looking for additional answers to, because although I have great systems in place, I always feel like we can be doing better, trying harder, and just completing more.
This article that you wrote about Power Woman, Kris Orticello, on how to successfully navigate work, love, and life as a powerful woman. You talked about faith. You talked about tenacity. If you were in front of a graduating class of young ladies today, or some organization like that, and they wanted to be a fashion model, or they wanted to be a singer, or they wanted to be an actress, What suggestions would you give them?
Oh my gosh, I love this question, Brian. First of all, I didn't write that article. That was by Authority magazine and something Zhao. I can't remember her name, but she was the writer of it and she did an incredible job. But I think what I would say to somebody who wanted to be an actor or a model or anything in entertainment is know who you are. And if you're not sure yet who you are, because often people start very young, try to get a feeling for what your yeses and what your nos are, what your levels of comfort are for certain things. Because if you don't know who you are, people will tell you, no, you can't do that. That's a dream. And that's only for certain people. And that's not you. And that's just people projecting their own fears of what they can't do. So if you don't have a strong sense of who you are and what your core is, you'll be easily knocked out and completely knocked off your track in your course. I think also knowing your core values is really important because there are different things that come up in entertainment. And if you are, like, for example, how we spoke about how I don't do nudity, I don't do blasphemy, there are a lot of roles that use the Lord's name in vain. And if that's something that you're comfortable with, then that's your yes. And then that's something that you can do. But if you're, for example, like myself, and not comfortable with that, then you have to decide, is this something that I choose because it could advance my career, possibly? Or is it something that I choose not to do because this isn't in alignment with who I am and it's a betrayal of my values?
So let me ask you about that a little bit, because you said that you had some challenges in your journey.
Yeah.
And in the article, you talked about kindness and how it's hard to be kind, particularly when you're suffering through pain or rejection. Can you tell us at all? Do you feel comfortable telling us at all about what some of these challenges were?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Brian, for a long time in my life, I went through life with a chip on my shoulder. I had a lot of heavy trauma that I wasn't dealing with. I grew up in a really chaotic home, and my parents are great parents, but there was stuff. They got married pretty young, and there was stuff that I was carrying with me, a lot of insecurities. And as a result of that, I wasn't always kind to people. In fact, there were times where I was really mean, and I'm really regretful of that. And it took me a long journey of not understanding why I was getting treated back a certain way, like why my almost bullying and pushing my way through things wasn't working out all the time, because it always had such a high degree of working so often. Because sometimes when you bulldoze through people, it can intimidate them and make them feel like, just take it, just take whatever you need. But that's not really the way to get what you want or to build relationships in the long term. That might get you something in the short term, but people will not want to deal with you. They'll not want to be in your presence or be in your energy. And unfortunately, I made a lot of mistakes in life, and I had to learn through people treating me back the way I was treating them, that the way I was behaving was just monstrous. You know, it really was. And I'm grateful for that experience because it's humbled me so much. And it's made me look at the person that I want to be, the impact that I want to leave, and how I want people to leave the room speaking of me. I want them to be like, Kris is so nice. She's so helpful. She's enhanced my life. She's enhanced my business. She's enhanced my confidence. I want people to feel good about their experience with me, not to feel like, oh my God, what just happened?
You also talked a little bit about how you make people feel uncomfortable with you as a powerful woman. And if you're on dating sites and meeting people on a regular basis, how do you make people, why are people uneasy, and how do you make them feel at ease?
Well, I don't think I make people feel uncomfortable. I think, well, maybe in my past I have, when I was being mean, but I know that I'm not a mean person. And I know that I take a lot of care to make sure people are comfortable. I think that if people are uncomfortable, it's typically because they haven't worked on those things about themselves that could be using a bit more confidence, like a confidence boost. Because I've worked very hard to be cognizant of the things about myself that are insecure and how I can be a better person. And I'm definitely not perfect, but if someone's intimidated by my achievements or something that they feel is powerful about me, that really isn't about me. That's not about what I bring, because my power is to be shared with others. My power is to give others power. So if they're feeling like my power is taking their power away, it may be because they haven't worked yet on themselves and the things that make them powerful. Because it's not my place to ever try to take something away from somebody. I want to give. I'm a giver, and that's what I want to do. I want to make people feel good. I want to make them feel powerful.
Then this interviewer asked you about ridiculous or uncomfortable situations that you had to endure to achieve success, and you talked about some things that happen that men don't have to endure. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, there's a lot of things that women have to endure that men don't have to endure, but I think it's also vice versa too. I really don't like to bash or to segregate and say that, you know, women are better, or men are better, or any of that. I think we have power and we have strength in identifying how we can help each other and what our strengths and weaknesses are. And I think some of the things that have happened along the way are kind of like the Me Too movement things, which has gratefully corrected itself. And I'm very, very grateful for that. But there have been a lot of circumstances where men have used their influence to try to get away with certain things. And there have also been men that haven't been able to take direction from a woman because they don't have the confidence to say that this is a person who is in a position of authority, regardless of their gender. And that, I think, is something, again, that person, that individual needs to work on, because I personally don't go into any of the situations with anyone who works with me or for me demanding that they treat me in any kind of way like above anybody. It's that this is what needs to get done. These are the tasks. How do we work together to achieve this? And if someone feels intimidated and they're a male that's working for me, that just tells me that they have stuff that they haven't worked on yet that makes them feel that way. And it has nothing to do with me, because I know that my approach is always kind.
Sounds like you must have had some difficult times that you found a way through.
Yeah, I think, you know, kindness is like just giving people grace. Like if someone's going to behave that way, whatever their situation is, if they want to be mean or if they want to be obnoxious, like I know what it's like to be on the other end of that. And eventually you're going to have to work it through, because people won't put up with it for long. And it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
You were asked if you can balance career and personal life. Can you?
Absolutely, you can. I mean, I find so much of my career to be a part of my personal life, because I bring so many parts of it into it. For example, if I'm acting and there's a role, I need to recall memories that I've had. I need to be able to use my senses, things that I've experienced, and bring them into that role. And I think also, if you're just looking at it from separating those two things and making them individual, as long as the person that you're with or the people that you are surrounded by value what you do and they honor you and they respect you, there should always be room for you to have a personal life and have a career. People go to work every day and come home to their families. And I don't know why people think that people that are in entertainment can't also have that. We can. Our work is a little different, but we can have that. We can separate things, and we can live, I don't know if I like the word normal, but we can live lives that are full and happy.
Okay. So you want to get married, you want to have children, you want to have a regular life, and yet you're a powerful woman. You're an actress, you're a model, you're beautiful. You're, you know, on Instagram with incredibly beautiful, I would say, sexy pictures. Don't you think a man's going to be pretty intimidated by all that?
Think so. I don't think that the right one will. I think the right one will have his own thing going on, and he'll just understand that that's just part of my work, and that I think he'll love those things about me. Actually, I think he'll want more of those things from me. I think that he'll be excited to explore more of those things with me and have me all to himself in ways that other people can't see and other people can't have.
Have you had long-term relationships?
I have.
And
I mean, I think that they're great. I think that when things work and you're in a good place with somebody, it's such a beautiful experience. And I mean, I'm such a loving and nurturing person that I think that having a long-term partner for the rest of my life would just be the most romantic thing ever, because that kind of care that supersedes superficial elements, like the way somebody looks, is the best thing that you could ever have. Because that means that when you're down, when you're hurting, when my hair's up in a bun and I don't have makeup on, there's more to love about me than just the way I look or just the way I dress. It's because I'm a person that connects with another person, and we have a common goal and a common purpose together in this life and in this journey. And I think that is so beautiful.
You were described as someone that's a powerhouse on Clubhouse, someone who should be followed on social audio. Tell us a little bit about Clubhouse and why you're a powerhouse on it.
Okay, Brian, I just want to say something for the record. I have not paid any of these people to say these things about me. I don't know why the word power keeps on coming up. I mean, I personally consider myself to be such like an underestimated person oftentimes, that is kind of like there and willing to serve and provide. But I mean, it's amazing to me that people use that word power, but it's also beautiful as well. What was your question?
Why are you a powerhouse on Clubhouse?
Well, I mean, from the person that wrote that article, which was Fu, I think he recognized some things about me, like consistency, showing up, and helping others. I think a big part of what I do with my publicity room on Clubhouse. By the way, guys, we run a publicity room on Clubhouse, and it's really amazing. It's how to help your brand get publicity. And we're going to be restarting it in September. So if that does interest you, we just love helping people get information on how to help their brand succeed and get the visibility.
Tell me, how do we get our brand more attention?
Well, getting brand attention is one of the things that we're doing right now, Brian, is working with the media, getting on things like podcasts and radio and television, and working with a publicist. And if you don't have a publicist, finding out the right coaches that can help you work around that, getting into the right places where you're meeting those people who can introduce you to the media or who you can build those relationships with. I quote Dominique Murphy all the time because it's just the best saying ever. She says, visibility equals credibility equals profitability. So if you really want to increase your bottom line, it's about who knows you. It's about who's seeing you and how many impressions you're making on people. So people need anywhere between 5 and 7 impressions to get familiar with you, to remember your name. So if this is, let's say, your first time hearing my name and you're like, who's Kris Orticello? And then it just kind of passes through your ears until you hear it again a second time. And you might not even notice it the second time. It might just be background noise to you. But by the 7th time, you know who I am. And that's important because then I can leverage my brand and say this amount of people know who I am. And because of that, I can help you to get them to know who you are. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is the cycle of life and helping people through that process.
Kris, if people want to follow you on social media or check out you on Clubhouse or access your marketing expertise and advice, how do they best do that?
A great way to get in touch with me is just go ahead, go on Instagram. That's our hero account. The hero means like the one that we promote the most, that we're most active on. And give us a follow. It's at Kris Orticello, KRISORTICELLO. And come over, give us a follow. We'll likely follow you back as well. We love following interesting people, and get in touch. We have an email button if you want to find out anything about how we can help you, or if you want to put us on a podcast or any kind of media. We're always interested in doing that as well, and definitely interested in helping brands get the visibility and the credibility and the profitability that they deserve.
Kris Orticello, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. We're going to take a final break for some messages and come back with some concluding comments in just 2 minutes with Kris Orticello, a model, a actor, a musician, a marketing expert, and a social influencer. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I'm having a lot of fun tonight chatting with Kris Orticello. She is an actor. She is a musician, a singer. She's a model. She's a social influencer, and she's a marketing advisor. And it sounds like she's doing everything. She's even advertising a exclusive dating site online, if you can believe that. So she's got everything, and she's very upfront about her Christian faith and how that Christian faith guides her, and restricts her from doing some inappropriate things, and taking inappropriate roles, or at least roles that she thinks is inappropriate. She's also an animal lover, she says, and doesn't eat steak. So she's never going to date me, since steak is one of the things that I eat all the time. But it's a fascinating conversation. And she's talked about how resilience, how kindness, and how faith are her three secrets to success in being a powerful woman. I think that that's fascinating, that someone would have kindness and faith in that list, along with perseverance that a lot of people would have, in being one of the three traits that you got to have to be successful. Kris, you're very impressive.
Oh, thank you, Brian. So are you.
And your Instagram site and your social media and your powerhouse on Clubhouse are all impressive. You believe in figuring out who your authentic self is. And I've read some of your posts to talk about manifesting your future and your destiny. Tell me 10 years from now, where are we going to find Kris Orticello?
Well, I can't say for sure. We hope that we are going in the direction we want to, but if I can ask God to deliver me a few things, it would be definitely a relationship with my husband that will be long lasting and that will be amazing. And hopefully some children, and success in my acting career, and success with my marketing business, and probably vacationing a lot, and just being grateful and glorifying the Lord every chance that I get, and thanking him for just bestowing me, with so many blessings.
It's interesting. Your Christian faith has come up a few times, and it sounds to me like you probably went there in a tough time. Can you tell us a little bit at all about how this faith got you through whatever it is that was challenging? You talked about a troubled youth, or a challenging family household. How did faith get you through that?
Well, what's interesting, Brian, is I actually turned my back against the Lord. I was at a time in my life where I was, like I mentioned before, kind of being a bit pushy with things and getting my way a lot, but not in a really good way. And I basically decided that since I was doing so much and I was working so hard, that all of this was a result of my work. And so I was like, God, I don't need you anymore. And then shortly after that, I was hit by a car, and I realized just how much I need the Lord. And I really became close to the Lord in that process. And my faith really increased. And I was shown that the things that I thought that I was doing on my own were actually a result of the hand of God and his favor on my life. And I know that God didn't send that harm my way, but I do know that he used it, and I'm grateful for it. I mean, nobody really wants to get hit by a car, but I do know that I came out of that experience a much better person, a much more caring person, a much more compassionate person, and a person that was much closer to God and much more centered.
So you're grateful for the harm that befell you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go through it again. not looking to do that again, but definitely grateful that there was change that happened to me, because I think that it could happen either way. Let's say I did go the other way and I was bitter, even more angry towards God, and I didn't listen to that still small voice that was telling me that there was something to learn here. Then perhaps I could have been a meaner person. I could have been a more destructive person, but that's not what my destiny was. My destiny was to learn from that experience, to be humbled by it, and to invite God in to correct me. And because of that, I am a better person, and people say nicer things about me. And that really warms my heart.
Kris Orticello, thank you so much for sharing with us. It was really quite fascinating, and an interesting conversation. And I expect great and wonderful things from you. I hope we stay in touch and that you share some of your future developments with us.
Thank you so much, Brian.
That's our show for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online at www.960am.ca. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night.